I think it's a bit like going back to basics. Um, One thing about consumption here, yeah, it's way less a consumption society. So you're much more into the moment and the nature and I don't know, taking your time and yeah, that changed a lot. And the fact that I don't need a carrot anymore, that changed
You
massively.
don't need that?
It's as I don't need a carrot. Like I
Ah,
don't need
gotcha.
anything to, it's as if my life feels enough rewarding in every sense that I don't need anything to kind of pursue or continue.
Interesting.
Portugal.
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 Our vegetables are like rock stars.
Literally, Portugal is a small Disneyland for grown-ups.
I think that Portugal is like my geographic soulmate.
It's hard to explain what it is because it's a feeling.
And when I went there, I absolutely fell in love with Portugal.
I wanted to feel the crunchiness.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast.
And we're here on his podcast, Portugal Simple Life.
Portugal, the Simple Life podcast, your insider's perspective into Portugal. And our latest episode starts right now. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, the Simple Life. And I'm really delighted to be joined here by Marieka Finot. Marieka, thank you for being on the podcast. How are you?
No, thank you so much for the invitation, and thanks to Ricardo for the intro.
Ricardo's like the ultimate connector.
Exactly.
For those that don't know, Ricardo Marval, he's been on the podcast. I think it was in season 1 actually, or season 2, and but I think he's must have connected me with a number of guests. So he's like the ultimate connector. So yes, Marieka, maybe you can start off telling us a bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm in my 30s. I'm originally from France, but I live more than 15 years abroad. So I spent 10 years in London in the UK, and it's been 5 years now that I'm in Portugal, which means that I've never worked or been really an adult in France.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm pretty dynamic, and a driven woman. I love lots of things, yoga, food, reading, traveling. And the only thing like work-wise is that I transitioned from being a trader in London to creating my own business on financial empowerment in Portugal.
Okay, amazing. We'll get on to that. How did you end up here? How did that all start for you? What was your first experience of Portugal?
So first experience, I actually had three before coming to live. Two were Hindus. So one in Lisbon, the other one in Porto, so that was 2013 and probably 2016 or something. And I came back with friends for a long weekend in 2019, and from there I asked myself, okay, could I see myself live here? And the answer was yes, because I thought was pretty charming. It was not far because it's in Europe. So let's give it a go.
Okay. And that was at that time you were living in London.
Exactly. So 2019, just a trip to see if I could see myself in Portugal. But what made me decide, I would say, is I was in London for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And in my corporate life, I had achieved quite a few milestones pretty early on. So I felt as if I had achieved what I wanted at that stage. Also, I wanted to start a family, and I thought maybe, priorities shift, and maybe I need to go from that intense job to slow down a bit. And yeah, Portugal just felt the right place because I guess it's easier to live. It's more entrepreneurial and it felt like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that you had been to Lisbon twice on a Hindu, so that was just for a party, and to Porto. And then what's happened in your life? Because the third time you visited, you came with a different question, of okay, I'm kind of ready for the next chapter. Could this be the place? And we'll get on to how you kind of analyze that. But what's happened in your life in London where that's brought you to this point of thinking it's now time for a change, time for the next part of my life?
Yeah, so exactly as I said, like a few milestones that I kind of reached or ticked. The need of a family. And again, I thought maybe it's going to be easier elsewhere. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt it was the right time to expand, explore something new. And it's been more than 10 years in London, which I
Yeah.
love and
Yeah.
still love. But it's more a question of, okay, what about the next 10? And maybe I'll still be in London and maybe I'm missing something. So I just thought
Yeah.
I needed to, yeah, get out of my comfort zone.
Interesting. We've had a lot of guests on the podcast who they'd been living elsewhere, and usually I think usually people kind of focus on one or the other. They'll either focus on, okay, a place has changed, and so that's why I'm moving, or I've changed, and that's why I'm moving. It sounds like maybe it is a bit of both. That as
Clearly.
you evolve, I mean, I don't want to say grow up because that's not the right word, but you kind of your priorities are different. Did you feel that as well, that there was kind of a priority shift for you and the place wasn't moving with that priority shift? Was there any of that kind of experience with you in London?
Probably just because you know what you know, and I
Yeah.
was a trader for 10 years. I only knew like people were employees, like working hard, long hours. I didn't know there was another world that could exist, kind of. So I'm not saying that it does not exist in London, but I was not knowing the right people. That's
Mm.
why I probably thought it was easier to launch something new, to create something new elsewhere where you're less biased, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So what, coming to Portugal in 2019, what were some of the questions that you were asking yourself about Portugal? As is this a place I can live? What were some of those things that you were looking at in Portugal? We thought, okay, is this going to work for me?
That's a good question. I think I'm
Because
pretty
you're a
easy.
trader, and you work finance, so you must have had a spreadsheet, I'm sure, tucked away somewhere,
Oh yeah,
and a
yeah, for sure.
checklist. Okay.
Yeah. So that was probably after the trip. So just the trip, it was more,
No,
okay,
yeah,
like what about the atmosphere? What about the lifestyle? Is it easy or like do I see people be like me or all of these kind of
yeah.
things? Yeah, and I've lived, so I'm French. I lived in London. I also did like a semester in Mexico.
Oh wow.
So I'm not saying I'm used to moving,
Yes.
but still I'm pretty open and so on. So it was pretty easy. Yeah, I would be good in Portugal.
Yeah, I think Portugal before, let's say, maybe more than 10 years ago, when people were thinking, okay, I'm going to move to Portugal, they're probably thinking, I'm going to do this when I retire. It's a
Hmm.
great place to just relax, eat some pastéis nata, play golf, go to the beach, and that's how I'm going to spend the rest of my days. And we're seeing Portugal change now as a destination for people that are in the middle of their lives, in the middle of careers, or like yourself, wanting to start something new. And that's super interesting for this little country, and so many people all over the world going, actually, I want to still do something. I'm not just going to go and sit on my backside.
Mhm. No, clearly. And when I say I wanted to create something new, I had absolutely no clue before arriving in Portugal.
Okay,
Just
so
because,
you came
again,
with
when you
without a plan.
without a plan, of course, I have
See,
a financial background, so financially wise, I was pretty
yes,
fine.
you were fine.
But yeah, in terms of business ID, absolutely no. I think it's super hard when you have like a big and intense job to make space for something else, to have ideas, to yeah, to take a bit of a breath. So when I arrived here, yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But of course, I'm pretty driven. I go fast. So in a few months, actually, I realized that financial well-being, and that's why I wanted to empower people financially.
Amazing. Let's just talk about for you personally. So you've got to Portugal 2019. You've gone, yeah, this feels pretty good. I'm giving like the basic summary of it, and I'm sure it wasn't as simple as that. And you got back and you've gone, okay, these are the things that I'm looking at, and how does this align up to my new priorities, my new way of life? Were there a couple of checkpoints for you with Portugal where you're like, okay, yeah, check, check, check? I know you meant one of the things you mentioned was wanting to start a family. What made you feel like Portugal was a good place for that?
That's a good question. So it's super hard before realizing. And actually, when I arrived in Portugal, so that was end of September 2020, I was 3 months pregnant.
Okay.
So between the time I actually quit my job in London, which was mid-June 20, to the execution of, okay, we're moving, we need to move flats, bring the stuff and do a lot of paperwork. Yeah, I was 3 months pregnant. So actually, I have a son who's Portuguese.
Oh, wonderful. So he's
Mm,
born here.
yeah.
So what were the things that you thought, okay, because I know that was an important thing for you. What were the things that you thought, okay, this could be a good place to raise my
I don't
baby
think I
that's on the
asked
way?
myself exactly. I don't think I asked myself so far ahead because I think
Yeah.
when you're not yet a parent, it's super hard to imagine yourself.
Yes.
But just the time that I had much more freedom and much more time, I thought it was the right place just because, yeah, I was free. Whereas before it's pretty intense and you
Yeah.
don't really have time to think through.
How would you describe that shift? Because um, you're not the first person on the podcast that has said that Portugal gave them, you mentioned sort of taking a breath, and that Portugal kind of gives you that time and that space. Because London is London. Like it
Hmm.
is breakneck. And I think whenever I go to London, I look around and I say, I look and even when people aren't working, they seem to be rushing somewhere. Um, and I always remember, trying to have a conversation with people on the underground, and you just don't because, people got their earphones in, they're in a rush. They look at you like you're a crazy person if you try to have a chat. How do you think Portugal differs, and what was attractive about that, people talk about pace of life, but what contrast did you feel making that transition to fast-paced London to now coming here?
I think it was amazing because again, it's like a blank page, kind of, or white page, and you can write everything. So it's more, okay, what do I want? What am I good at? And you ask these kind of questions that normally you don't have time to ask yourself. And then, as you said, the pace of life is so much slower that people have time so that it's easy to actually connect to people, to make, I don't know, social network and so on. And so many of the people here are entrepreneurs. So for me, it's like a new world because in London, I didn't know anyone.
Mm,
So yeah, just the fact that it's very attractive at the moment. There's a lot of people coming in, lots of opportunities, still a lot of things to do.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that makes it. And again, at the time, it was way cheaper as well than living in London.
cost
So
of living.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So just thinking, yeah, I can take a bit of time if I don't have a salary for some time, doesn't really impact me.
yeah.
For sure, it's easier than in a city that costs way more.
Did you feel like it was that, what's the best way to put this? Did you feel like you had more accessibility here?
Mm,
Like you mentioned, not knowing the right people in London, and like I feel like, yeah, you get into your groove in London, and it's very difficult to kind of get out of that network or to branch and to shift. Did you feel like you had more of a exposure, accessibility to the right people or the people that you could learn from or get inspired by? Did you feel like there was a more of an openness here?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know the
Yeah,
answer, but I would say I still think it's doable to do it in London.
yeah,
But again, because you only know what you know, I didn't know these people. I didn't have that life. So I haven't tried, but I thought it was just easier moving country, experimenting something new, starting from scratch. and yeah, seeing where it leads me.
Coming back to being a mom, how is the experience now? Because it's 5 years on, your child's born here. Like, what do you want to say about Portugal and raising a child?
It's amazing. Again, I have no comparison.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, I think Portuguese people love kids. They love them. So you're gonna have comments, people coming to you, asking questions, wanting to be involved. I don't think anywhere else it happens. I think they're super patient or open for kids, which means that you go at the restaurant, it's very common to see like the full family from the grandfather to like the newborn.
Yeah.
And everybody is like sharing the same table, and there's a bit of crying and something, but it doesn't matter. So that's refreshing in a way. And then in terms of organization, I think it's easy. So again, I don't have comparison, but I know friends and family in other countries. I don't know, summer camps or any camps during holidays, you can book like a week in advance. There's a lot of options. So it doesn't feel hard. Of course, you need to pay, but there are options to support you. So I'm super pleased.
Amazing. Has he is it a girl or a boy?
Boy, 4 years.
Has he
Yeah.
chosen a football team yet?
It's Portugal against France, but then
No club
not
team yet. Not yet.
exactly.
Sporting. Okay. If he does
Yeah.
ask, you just say sporting is the way to go. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. So what you started up here and how that's going.
Yeah, so as I said, so I used to be a trader, and now I created, so 4 years ago, my company to help people better manage their money, so that they feel more confident, in control, and just more aligned with their wealth. So the first thing I did was to launch a podcast. So normally I'm on your seat. My podcast is called Money Chill Out, and the goal is really to open up the topic around money, to exchange best practices, to get inspired by either a professional or just someone who has an experience with money. And yeah, really sharing tips, experiences, and make it much more approachable. So I really wanted to get out of my London bubble, very male. And yeah, there's another world. So the podcast was for that. And I reached 100 episodes back in March, I think.
Wow, congrats.
So yeah,
It's hard
pretty
work.
nice.
It's hard work.
Yeah. But it's I don't know, it's a way for me to, expand my network, to speak to people I would have never known otherwise. And I'm pretty curious. So I always learn, even though it's my topic, I always learn a tiny bit, details or something. So yeah, makes it very rewarding. So that's the first thing, the
Yeah.
podcast. And I'm a coach, so I do financial coaching. So I help people either structure, make them know about their flows and anything investment related. In the 5 continents, because I have clients all around the world.
Yeah.
And I also do conferences for companies. The companies are mostly based in Paris, but I cover topics such as financial well-being, financial freedom, and anything financial literacy wise.
Okay, amazing. So a lot of what you're doing now is more one-on-one based, working with individuals as opposed to big corporate. Was that something that you always wanted to do? Is it something that starting doing that took you a little bit out of your comfort zone? Like
Yeah,
starting a
clearly.
podcast as well?
Yeah. Everything was very new. Like I never really listened to podcasts before quitting my job in London.
Okay.
I don't think I had the space or the
Time.
yeah,
Yeah.
you need to be exactly in the right mindset or something. And when I quit, I actually listened to quite a few, and I thought it was an amazing way to exactly open a discussion, exchange. Yeah, and then coaching wise, same. I mean, yeah, my background is in investment management. I'm also a CFA, which is a qualification for managing funds, and but still, there's a difference between qualification and how you teach or guide people. So yeah, a lot of learning, but I love it. So that's why I never get bored. And on top, if you add, so relationship to money, even within one family, you can have like big differences. So imagine you bring different countries, different cultures, different, wow, I've learned a ton.
Yeah, so I mean, 5 different continents. So we're talking people from all over the world that you're speaking to.
Mhm. It's really recommendation based. So there's a bit
Okay.
of LinkedIn for sure, but 85% of my clients, let's say, are based or are coming from people I know, people I've coached, and so on and so forth. So that's why the more you coach, the easier it gets. But yeah, now I have clients, yeah, I would say from the US, Uruguay,
Wow.
a lot of countries in Europe, Dubai, Bali. It's pretty broad.
Between my job as a realtor at Portugal Realty and hosting this podcast, life is pretty busy. But lately I've been receiving so many messages from people that want to know more about buying property here on Portugal's Silver Coast that I've got to do something about it. So starting now, for subscribers only, I'm offering up a 30-minute session per day. That's 5 30-minute sessions for a one-on-one meeting to talk about buying property here on Portugal's beautiful Silver Coast. This is for subscribers only. So please subscribe to book your session and get in touch with us through the links below via WhatsApp or email to book your session today. I'll be happy to speak to you. It's for subscribers only and it's completely free. I mean, how, for people who are thinking, I'm not done yet, and I don't have to be boxed in geographically. I think I always think back to COVID, and COVID made a huge shift for people because all of a sudden we didn't have to be in a particular place to work. We could be where we wanted to be. Um, for people that are thinking to themselves, well, I'm working 9 to 5, then I'm going outside and rushing to catch a bus or a tube or an underground, and I never see the sun, and I'm paying an arm and a leg in taxes and living costs, and they're thinking I might want to go somewhere a little bit sunnier, a little bit friendlier. Um, how do you think this country facilitates someone who wants to do that? What do you think some of the key things that make that easier, make it possible for someone that's wanting to start something new?
So definitely, as someone coming from a financial background, I would do scenarios and put everything on a spreadsheet, as you
Let's
said.
do it. Spreadsheet it as much as you want. I'm okay.
Exactly. So spreadsheet with different scenarios. But what I found, I think, hard to imagine because I'm speaking to a lot of people who want to leap, who want to change things, and so on and so forth. It's hard to understand that when you change, for example, and you live in Lisbon, there's a lot of things as well that are going to change. And I give you a few examples. Um, Imagine when I was living in London, for example, I needed a carrot, I needed my winter sun, or I needed the next holiday because you work hard and blah blah.
Yeah.
Whereas in Lisbon, it's as if it seems a holiday kind of all of the time, so you don't need that anymore. So for sure, your costs gonna decrease a lot because you don't have to go far. People go on a holiday in Lisbon for a reason, so you could be there and not moving. So all of them, I don't know, if you go to the beach, of course you can go for grilled fish and pay like 50 euros, but you can also be at the beach, bring your picnic, and it's free. So there's a lot of the nature elements which makes your life completely different to being in another location, and clearly you're going to see in your finances.
Yeah. And I mean, you do yoga, so we know with yoga, it's a lot about taking time. It's about the breath work. It's about the mental health. How does being in a place like Portugal contribute to that side of your life? into that part of you?
So for sure, so many things. I think the weather helps. Everybody says it, but clearly, you don't ask yourself like between end of March till end of October, how do I dress? I'm always in shorts or in shirts, in skirts or something. So that feels pretty nice. And just the how nature is so close to Lisbon. So even though Lisbon is a capital, even though it's a city, still within an hour, you have, let's say, 30 or plus beautiful spots that you can go to where you're going to have, I don't know, beaches for surfers and beach on sea time. You can go to vineyards. You can go to, I don't know, hike and discover little beach like it's Corsica or something. It's so diverse, that the nature and how easy it is to get out of the city. Yeah, that's insane. And I'm still not used to it, like in a positive way. And then for the body, I think the food as well is amazing. The raw products that you buy. I remember buying fruits. I'm a big fan of fruits. For example, in London, I don't know, they don't taste a lot. Whereas here, I don't know, they're amazing. So all of the fruits and veg that you buy, wow,
Yeah,
makes a difference.
yeah. I mean, I whenever I go to London, and I know I keep coming back to London, but that was the last place you lived at. I always, and I have a lot of clients from the UK, and it almost feels like it's a place where you're trapped by the city, you know, and you try to kind of live a life within the city. But there's the pollution and there's the traffic and the noise and the stress and then you maybe get a day of sun and maybe you go to the park, you know, and then you come to a place like this where, like you mentioned, you don't have to feel trapped by the city. You can get out and you can be on a beach in less than 20 minutes. And you're not going to be crowded out by the beach at the beach because everybody's just running to the same spot. It's like you've got this whole playground at your disposal. That makes a huge difference. Like you mentioned, feeling like you're on a vacation. It makes a huge difference when, you know, when you live in these big cities, you feel like you're only going to recharge your batteries like once, maybe 2 times a year, whereas we're almost able to recharge our batteries daily because
For
of
sure.
all these things.
Mm-mm. Yeah, a lunch in the sun. Actually, I'm not taking a lot of sun anymore. I'm always like cap on, sun cream, whatever. But yeah, just seeing the blue of the sky, and it's a funny story actually because the year I moved to Portugal, I actually missed green because everything here is blue, you know, blue of the sea,
Okay.
blue of the sky. And in London, it's very green. Like there's a lot of parks and
Yes.
trees. And I was really missing some green. And I remember saying that to my family, like over Christmas or something. And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, come on, like, stop. But
Yeah.
I promise that I felt like this. Not anymore, but at some point, yeah, it was pretty intense. But no, to come back to that, I think the quality of life so many people say like, oh, the quality of life in Portugal is amazing and Lisbon is amazing. And I was thinking when I was living in London, yeah, but I have the impression my life in London is pretty cool as well. I work hard, but still have a balance. I do nice things over the weekend. I have nice holidays, these kind of things. But still, when you come here, actually you realize that one of the things, for example, is that here you can do 3 days into one. You
Mm.
can start hiking along the coast, do a bit of sports, and then go like to the beach for lunch, and then come back to Lisbon to, I don't know, have a drink on a rooftop or something. But it's easy because it's like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. It's not like segmented in a way or like it's an adventure. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a big plus. And the fact as well that I think even though Lisbon is like a big city, it's still tiny. It still
Yeah.
feels like a village. I think inside of Lisbon there's only 550,000 inhabitants,
Yeah.
if I'm right. So again, there's so many people that so many 90% of the time, as soon as I get out of my house, I'm sure I'm gonna meet or bump into someone into the street, which is again like super nice because I don't know, it just feels super super nice.
Yeah. Did you experience a change just in terms of, saying hello to neighbors, like you mentioned, bumping into people that you know? That seems to happen less and less in this big world that we live in, and yet we had another lady on the podcast, Nina Patrick, who she lived in Berlin. She's American, but she lived in Berlin before moving here. And she said, since living in Portugal for the first time in her life, she spoke to her neighbors, and they'd tell her which beach she should go to and where she should go grocery shopping. And she thought that was just like amazing. That openness and again, the relationship with time, people taking the time to have a chat. Was that a change? Did you notice a change there?
Clearly, so for me, even if I was in London, let's say, I would still speak to, I don't know, someone, so not in the street for sure, but like, I don't know, I enter a building, I'm gonna say hi. I mean, it's more my personality. So I don't think that has changed much here. Um, but clearly the relation to the time, it's insane. So here, and again, I'm not used to it after 5 years, like in a positive way, it's super spontaneous.
Yeah.
Like you bump into a friend in the middle of the day or something, they tell you, okay, let's go for a coffee, like now. Okay, like why not? But normally you always need to plan. If ever you need to organize something like a dinner, an event, maybe it's like 1 week in advance, and even 1 week in advance seems super like well planned or
very
something.
soon. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so I think the biggest difference is that here in Lisbon, people have time. And because they have time, they're less individualistic, they're more keen to help, they seem to struggle less or to be always in a hurry. And yeah, and that's been amazing. Like if I give you an example, if you're a mom, your partner is away, you're sick for some reason, you can't manage your son or something, you just call a friend. I'm sure if I do that in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, someone will be in my house helping out. Whereas I guess again, I've not experienced it, but in other countries or cities, I mean, I'm working, it's too far, I can't because X, Y, Z. So again, that is pretty refreshing.
Let's talk to your French side. Food and wine. How's Portugal for food and wine?
No, so food, I think the raw products, absolutely amazing.
Fresh.
As I said, so fresh and so tasty and so yummy and I don't know, full of flavor. Fish is amazing as well. Everywhere you go, it's a safe bet. Like you know it's gonna be good because it's super fresh. I don't eat that much meat, so a bit, but not much, so I can't really comment. But in terms of culinary scene, I think in Lisbon there's so many different options, more and more. Great restaurants, plenty of options. It's not too expensive either. So yeah, I'm super happy with the food. And what was the other question? Wine. And wine, yeah. I discovered a lot of things. For example, orange wine. Never heard it before coming to Lisbon, so I'm not sure if it's like new or in other countries.
It's reasonably new. Yeah, it's
exactly. So now I really like orange wine, and every so often I offer like to French friends or something. It's always like a bit of a surprise, like they have no clue what it is. So, but other than that, yeah, wine is again easy and really good, and it's so much cheaper. In London, it used to be, I don't know, £10 for just like one glass. Here, you can find like from probably 4 or 5 euros. So, yeah.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to explore much of the country besides Lisbon? What are some of your highlights?
Yeah. so many. Again, the country, like the landscape, the countryside, I'm super in awe. It's still a lot of places are unspoiled. And again, it's super easy to move. So yeah, so I often go for a weekend or holiday. Highlight, I would say Alentejo is my favorite region. It's also the biggest, so but yeah, very unspoiled. A lot of, especially in the countryside, yeah, stunning. I went to Serra de Estrela. That was last year. Again, it's like the only mountain in Portugal, but it's kind of a different mountain to what I knew before, and beautiful. And then anything around Lisbon, I love like all of Sesimbra and around. I and I love all of the Costa Vicentina, which is between, let's say, below Sines and up to Algesur.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite. And also, I've been to islands that belong to Portugal, like Azores and yeah, and Madeira. Again, stunning.
Yeah. We know that a lot of we know that what makes a move a pleasurable thing and relocating a pleasurable thing has a lot to do with the people as well. You're a social person, you like to talk, but what do you want to say about the Portuguese people?
Portuguese people. So I know a few because my son used to be in a Portuguese nursery, and
yeah, that's always the
anytime you
doorway
do
to.
sports
That's
or
always
something,
the kids are
that
always a
helps.
doorway to meeting more people. Yeah.
True, true. But in general, I would say they are warm and welcoming. So that's a real plus, whether you're here for just a few days or for much longer. As I said earlier, as well, they're very family oriented, and they're going to spend a lot of their weekends within their family. They're going to go to restaurants. Again, it's going to be like 20 people. So yeah, it's like good roots and good traditions. Um, they're also super patient and relaxed. So sometimes it can be a bit like annoying as a you need to adapt sometimes. But yeah, they're not rushed. They enjoy the moment, which is the best. And they're very helpful. Every time you ask for help, they're gonna try to sort you out. Or yeah, so very very nice.
How would you say that Portugal has changed you?
I think it's a bit like going back to basics. One thing about consumption here, yeah, it's way less a consumption society. So you're much more into the moment and the nature and I don't know, taking your time, and it's yeah, that changed a lot. And the fact that I don't need a carrot anymore, that changed
You
massively.
don't need that?
It's as I don't need a carrot. Like I
Ah,
don't need
gotcha.
anything to, it's as if my life feels enough rewarding in every sense that I don't need anything to kind of pursue or continue.
Interesting.
It changed me. Yeah, I would say these two things.
Yeah. I like that concept of going back to the basics.
Mm. Every time I go to London, I'm shocked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as if, I don't know, you need to buy this and buy that and do, yeah.
And here it's like it's enough just to go and sit and have a coffee or have a nice lunch, and that's your day. You don't feel like you have to do more than that to have accomplished something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. You mentioned earlier you have clients and from all over the world. what do you think? What do you think people should know about Portugal that's not on a brochure? That's not on a promotional video or not on a brochure. When we talk about going back to the basics, like in the true essence, what would you like people to know about this country?
That again, as the name of the podcast says, it's easy. I love saying it's easy for plenty of reasons. It's easy, beautiful, and amazing. But of course, there's one thing which makes it easy, beautiful, and amazing. I mean, often it's the job. And around me, I think a lot of people don't necessarily struggle to find the right setup, but can struggle because a lot of my friends, connections, and certain acquaintance, they have UK, American, or French contracts, which means that sometimes they need to travel, so you need to find the right balance and so on. So if you are not in real estate, in hospitality, which you can find jobs here, sometimes it's harder to find the right setup. And even though it's, again, easy and so on, sometimes bureaucracy drives you nuts. So there's plenty of things that are super efficient and other which takes a long time. So that you need to know in advance that,
it's going to be different.
It takes time. And in any move, so that's not specific to Portugal, but I think, there's a cost to moving. So before having the right paperwork, the admin stuff, before having your network, before having your routines and so on, there's a bit of time and for sure before you feel home 100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. Marieka, what's one thing that you would like people to remember and to take away from our conversation?
That when you hesitate to leap or find plenty of reasons not to, there's plenty of reasons as well you should. And you can only regret what you've not done, kind of. So it's worth trying, experimenting, and if it works, it's amazing. If it doesn't work, then there are other options. So I think it's I hear it from so many of my clients. They want to move, they want to change job, they want to have more time, more space, more, and some do leap, but others, it takes a long time to process. So, just find people you find inspiring who've done the leap, and that's
and there's plenty of inspiring people in this country. I like the saying that we're not trees. If we can move if we want to, in so many ways. Marieka, how can people find you, follow you, get in touch?
So LinkedIn, clearly, it's my name, Marieka Finot. Instagram, exactly the same. And if you want to listen to my podcast, it's Money Chill Out, and it's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Okay, I love that. One more question, and a question that we ask all of our guests. Portugal, the simple life, why?
Slower pace of life. That's the number one. Less rush, more time to enjoy. That's the biggest one. Second one is the closeness to nature. Again, so many different options. 30 to 1 hour away. And the third thing is back to basics. Less consumerism, more quality of life, experiences. That's the third thing.
Love it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
No, thank you so much for inviting.
And I'm going to let you call it.
That's a wrap.
So thank you once again to our guests, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal The Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to the Simple Life.